I know, big news. I added gameplay into the background. I fell into the brain rot and I've allowed it so there's movement in the background at all times because I realized that even though I gesticulate in real life, the cat doesn't really show me gesticulating, does it now? But in reality, the actual big news is that shockingly, once again, a VTuber had a bad take that it just ended up being racist. Now, this all started when Minecraft made a little tweet about it being Black History Month, and more specifically, like their Minecraft education program. And the video went like this. And that's all it was. It literally just says, hey, you are allowed to experience global civil rights movements and just, follow through the plight and the difficulties that people had to go through. Nothing crazy, nothing terrible. It's literally just a DLC that allows people, and I'm mainly kids, because that's what the Minecraft education thing is for, to learn a little bit of history about global civil rights movements. And you would think, normal world with a bunch of functioning human beings, there wouldn't be an issue about this. But luckily we have VTubers, so here's a fun little take that we had about this. So this intelligence specimen right here, his first take on this was that she was advised by her lawyers not to comment, And what this usually means is that, people will say this when they want to say something, or when they're feeling like they want to say something that's, going to get them canceled. Yeah, and because you're going to say something that's like going against the post, something that's provocative. But obviously, being this person being the type of person that they are, commented. So here's their comment saying, "Screw it, man. I think pushing politics into my children's sandbox game is disgusting, especially when it's disguised as education. I play my stupid block game without having to engage or associate with any of your political garbage that I really do not care about. Really do not care about. I'm so tired of seeing it. Why does it even matter to push real world matters into my block game that I can play to escape from the real world? And if I buy and play the game, can it be seen as taking a side because a dumbass stupid post blew up? Stupid people empower moment. Why are we mad about Minecraft displaying civil rights movements and showing how people got human rights? One of the people in the video was Martin Luther King Jr., very famously known for pushing for the Civil Rights Act in America and making it so that, the racist laws such as the Jim Crow laws stopped existing and moving ever closer to equality in the United States. Another one was Malala, very famous for pushing for women's education movement and, the idea of just like allowing for women to get educated like a man would. These really aren't political takes. Now we live in a world where obviously some people take saying black people deserve the same rights as any other race and that women deserve the same rights as men. Apparently becomes that a political statement. I think it's absolutely crazy that this person's complaining about it. Like, it's a DLC for education and it's for children. And you say it's in your children's sandbox game, but the DLC is specifically targeted towards children. And once again, her getting mad at this is another classic example of the doom philosophy. And once again, for those who don't know, this is the doom philosophy. There's literally nothing obligating you to press the buttons to, play the Martin Luther King walks. There's nothing forcing you to go on the walks with Martin Luther King Jr. There's nothing forcing you to, go through Malala's fight for education for women. It's not like you're going to load into a new world and you're going to be just spawned in on the March on Washington while Martin Luther King Jr. is giving his I Had a Dream speech. That's not going to happen. And the fact that you're mad about even the possibility of it being in your game is just bad. It comes off as racist because how are you mad at Martin Luther King Jr. being in the game? And also, like, it doesn't even make sense, too, because I was going to say it comes to the sexist, but, like, this person's a woman and complaining about Malala being in the game. And once again, trying to take this, like, apolitical stance of saying, oh, I just don't want politics in my game. I want to escape. It just comes off as you being a terrible person. Because what the fuck do you mean you're mad at people be learning more about human rights activists and, like, civil rights activists? What could possibly be wrong with trying to educate kids on, like, the history of human rights violations and how terrible the world used to be, such that they don't make it so that it happens in real life today? Why are you mad about that? It doesn't really make sense. Apparently, also, she didn't really even know who was in the video or who was in the video at all. When, like, this person said it was American-centric politics, and she said didn't clock that. I didn't know a lot of these sort of figures. So, like, you just did the classic thing of getting mad without even knowing what the fuck you're talking about, for one. For two, the American-centric thing is not even correct because, once again, Malala was there. So like there are still more international human rights activists, and so like the fact that you get mad at like these people being in the game when you don't even know who the hell they are, you're just stupid. And then again, once again, because Martin Luther King, I think Rosa Parks, John Lewis were all featured in this video. It makes you seem like you're racist. Now maybe this person isn't racist, but having this take is a very racist sounding take. Now another thing too, an interesting little point of information that I obviously have seen, and not applying it to this person, but you see here she's part of Face Connect, and apparently people who do know more about the VTuber space, this is not my words, but apparently FaZe Connect has a very big issue with having racist VTubers in their as part of their like group. I'm not, most tapped in person in the VTuber space. Obviously, I'm in it enough to like see these type of drama, but apparently, not all people, but there is a good amount, more than you would want, of racist people in this FaZe Connect creator group. So, not only are you a part of this group that once again has a history apparently of racism, you then say this take, which just comes off as racist. And like, it's not surprising that once again a VTuber had a shit take. We know Restus Desu. We know the powder person who apparently is the biggest bootlicker of all time, and also a self-proclaimed racist. VTuber, like, it's kind of weird too. And it's especially weird that you don't really care about human rights or like you don't want politics, when the VTubing is probably I would say, second most gay, trans, LGBT adjacent people behind the furries. And even then, the furries kind of bleed into the VTuber space. So the fact that you're like kind of argue that you don't want to see politics at all when your entire career is around a space that is like has so many people who are just the victims of political violence also just kind of comes out as you being a fucking idiot. And like the fact that you just want to completely cover your ears and go la 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 when it's in regards to civil rights movements, you just come off as an asshole and a terrible person. But once again, a lot of people supporting this take. Why? Because people think that the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. Very famous, well-known Republican political commentator Charlie Kirk said that. A lot of people supported that. Those people are fucking idiots. This person's a fucking idiot for not even doing their research and then saying that the take comparing or like complaining about civil rights movements being in the game, especially when one, it's meant for kids, two, it's not even forced. You don't have to play it. You don't have to play the game. Once again, you control the buttons you press. And the fact that you're getting mad at this is just stupid, especially when it's for education. Which honestly, maybe you do need to watch the March on Washington, Rosa Parks, and John Lewis, and Malala. Because if you don't know who the fuck any of those people are, you're kind of dumb. Now, maybe you're not from the United States, like Rosa Parks and I'm okay. Possibly acceptable. But the fact that you decide to commentate on it without knowing who any of these people are, it comes off as racist. I mean, maybe you are. Maybe this person is racist. But it's just kind of crazy that she thought it would be a good idea to, have his takeout without even considering any sort of like who these people are. But yeah, the takeaway should be that, not a good day for apolitical claiming people because once again, unsurprisingly, the apolitical take here comes out as being racist. Especially weird for it to be, a VTuber be pushing apoliticalness, which is once again not surprising because a lot of VTubers are for some reason racist, which I don't know why. But VTuber be wanting apoliticalness when it comes to putting very important civil rights movements into their game. That's really all I got for today. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.